خلص حاحكي.
I was at their university and they had a rule that if you leave the religion of Mormonism, you must leave the school. It's a regime of truth, which is a philosophical concept that basically says that there are times when because a certain idea becomes so established and so entrenched that it behaves like the truth even if it isn't, because everybody accepts it. They kind of accept it as an assumption, and then they go from there. They don't question that very basic assumption. Now I questioned that very basic assumption, so I became Muslim at Brigham Young University, which is a Mormon university, and I had to do it in secret, because if they knew, they would have kicked me out. But because there was this very strong Mormon regime of truth that was basically pounding everybody in the head saying Mormonism, 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 I felt in my heart at the same time that Islam was true. But I didn't know enough to always articulate the kind of arguments against Mormonism. Some I could and some I couldn't. So I did a deep study, an objective study, because I was honestly wanting to know whether or not Mormonism was true. While doing this objective study, I got very deep into both religions, and I learned a lot about Mormonism. I learned a lot about Islam. The more I learned about Mormonism, the more I realized I didn't want to be Mormon, and the more I learned about Islam, the more I realized I wanted to be Muslim. But what this forced me to do was to answer questions. And these are the questions that we basically, the questions that I would ask myself are the same kind of questions that people coming into the masjid would, and who are interested in Islam would have. Another thing that happened was, I had a very interesting experience after graduating from BYU. I could practice my religion freely, but I continued to go to a Mormon church with my wife, and I went for the purpose of da'wah. The first day I come, a man basically bears his testimony. Mormons, it's like testimony, shahada. Mormons basically, they have this kind of practice where they stand in front of a group of people and they talk about how much they believe in their religion and how much it's true. They said, "Are there any visitors?" I stood up and I said, "Yes, my name's Martin Kern. I'm a Muslim. I would bear my testimony, but I don't want to ruin the mood." And everybody started laughing. It wasn't too long before they realized that I used to be Mormon. So at first I go to the bishop, I'm like, "Hey, look, I don't want to cause any trouble. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I'm not trying to shove my religion in anybody's face. If you don't want me to come, I won't come. If you don't want me to say anything, I won't say anything. Like, whatever you want, that's what I'll do." And the bishop was like, "No, you can come, it's fine." I would participate and I wouldn't argue with the people. I wouldn't argue with what they were saying, but I would kind of give my opinion, and sometimes I would say like things that they thought were unique to Mormonism. I would say Islam has it too. It would bother them to no end that I had left their religion, and what did I do? I was happy, I was smiling, I was polite, and I came to their house of worship and it didn't bother me. And that's what bothered them. Da'wah is basically calling people to the religion of Islam. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like an audible call, right? It doesn't have to be something you say, but it's things which make Islam appealing to people, things which bring them close to it. Da'wah is about the people you're giving da'wah to, and not about yourself. My last day at the church, I stood up and I said to the people, these types of exchanges between religions are very beneficial, they're positive, they help us learn about others, they help us learn about ourselves. I want to thank you guys for welcoming me, for being my brothers, for being very kind to me, and I want to ask your forgiveness for not being as good of a brother, for not being as good of a neighbor, and not being as good of a friend. And then I sat down. And my friend told me afterwards that he knows that all the people who said bad things about me before I said that, they felt a pinch in their hearts when I said that. And his wife asked him, why did you ask them to forgive you? Why did you apologize to them? And my friend said, "Oh honey, that's the Islamic way."